Now, this lesson is extremely, extremely important. In this lesson, I'm going to show you and walk you through how to find and eliminate your psychological blockages, your mindset blockages, just blockages in general. How do you find them? How do you get rid of them? Because these blockages, a lot of times, they hinder our success. You know, as traders, a lot of times we may come across financial limitations, financial blockages. And if you have issues with feeling abundant, if one of your blockages is potentially tied to deservability, where you don't deserve abundance because of things that happened in the past or whatnot, then obviously abundance will be limited in your life. And that's an example of a potential limiting a blockage, a limiting belief, a psychological blockage. So let me walk you through that a little bit more in a little bit more detail. As an example, there's a few different types of limiting beliefs. There's societal imposed limiting beliefs and self-imposed limiting beliefs. So what I mean by that, societal imposed limiting beliefs, a lot of times places where we live, our families, our friends, the society that we're exposed to, they may condition us with various limiting beliefs. A lot of times you may go to a grocery store. As an example, there's just a random example that's tied to money and abundance. You may go to a grocery store and all you see is sale, 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 sale. Save 3 cents on this, save 20 cents on that, save $2 on this. You know, and then you have those people that save coupon codes to lower their price by a few cents, maybe $1. That potentially may be a limiting belief, but also may not be a limiting belief. Again, it really depends on you, right? But those are examples of societal imposed limiting beliefs. A lot of times you may be listening to a radio station where that individual who's speaking, the host of that podcast or that show, may have limiting beliefs themselves that they're imposing on you. Maybe the news anchor from the news station that you watch or wherever you get your information, they might have limiting beliefs. So that's what I mean by societal limiting beliefs, that when they project them, you absorb them, right? And if you absorb enough of the same type of limiting belief, the same type of emotion from other individuals, from the society, from your family, from your friends, all of a sudden you may now hold that limiting belief, right? So again, how do you find it? How do you drop it? But that's just one example, and we're going to get into that. Right now, personal limiting beliefs, they're totally different. They may be based on your own personal experience, where you impose a limiting belief based on what happened to you. As an example, you may be a great athlete and you're playing sports and you're just amazing at what you do. You're a very good athlete, you know, and maybe you're the best player on that team. Maybe you're the team captain, who knows, you know, and all of a sudden you got an injury, right? And from that injury, even though you recovered and you're at your best, you're at your peak state physically, you know, you went through physiotherapy, there's no issues, your muscles are stronger than ever, you know, the injury should not be a hindrance anymore, right? Physically. But emotionally, you may now hold a fear from doing what it is that gave you that physical injury, as an example, right? If it was playing football, American football, maybe you got injured when somebody tackled you and you were the running back. There's just an example, right? And now you have an emotional blockage, an emotion that is stuck with you, which is fear, right? It could be fear of now getting hit and potentially getting injured again. That is a personal and a self-imposed limiting belief, right? That can haunt you years after it actually occurs, or years after the memory occurs, right? So again, societal, personal limiting beliefs, they can come from everywhere. They can come from other people. They can also come from you. And again, just examples. Now, examples of other limiting beliefs. Life is a battleground. Life is hard. Life is war. Business is war. Trading is war. You're fighting other individuals for profit. You know, some lose, some win. Life is a battleground. It's a limiting belief. It means it's hard. So if you think it's hard, if you think life is a war, life is a battleground, obviously you will have some challenges in your life, because that is, again, a limiting belief. Life does not have to be a battleground. It can be very, very simple, right? Next one, life is happening to me, not for me, right? So meaning that you do not control your reality, the reality controls you. Other individuals control you. Other individuals are responsible for your well-being and for the things that you are doing, right? So life is happening to me, not for me. That is, again, a limiting belief. The idea is that you create your own reality. You are the one that is responsible. So again, that's something that could come up. I am at mercy of my past, meaning that my past defines me, right? What I experience in my childhood is what I become, right? The thing is, the past may define you, but you can change it at any time. You can change your perspective of the past, and all of a sudden, when you change your perspective of an event, of a memory, all of a sudden, that may not be a limiting belief anymore, because now you found the beauty in it. What was once pain is now beauty, right? Something that you can actually pull value from, pull wisdom from, right? So again, you are not at mercy from your past. You can change that perspective at any point in time, right? And that past can actually be a benefit, right? Because again, it's all wisdom, it's all knowledge. All experience is just wisdom and knowledge that you can use to fine tune and get better. What else? What else we got here? I'm at the mercy of karma, right? We all know karma. Again, you create your own reality. So if you believe you're at mercy of karma, past life karma as an example, then obviously you can be. But you can change the perspective at any point in time. You create your reality. I'm going to say that over and over and over again, but you are responsible for the reality that you're creating. As an example being the previous lesson where I've talked about creating your own lifestyle, you're responsible for that, right? So you are creating your reality. The world is out to get me. Limiting belief. You control your reality. My truth is the only truth. Limiting belief. That is very close-minded individual. You have to be open-minded, right? Open-minded to your own truth as well. Because that statement, my truth is the only truth, well, the present truth may differ from the future truth, if that makes sense. You know, you may change your own, you may gain more wisdom by yourself, more experience by yourself, and your truth may change. You have to be open-minded. You have to be able to flow with life and to flow with reality, you know, and to absorb wisdom from other individuals. Because guess what? They may have various other experiences that may help you as well, right? Your truth is not the only truth. Other individuals have a lot of wisdom to share with you as well, you know, so be open-minded to that, but also be open-minded to yourself. To mainly be open-minded to the fact that you will have to, at various stages in your life, change your belief systems, adjust your belief systems. And if you are so close-minded, it will be very hard to do that. So just be open to all possibilities, be open to all information, and just gather it, absorb it, analyze it yourself, and then make up your own mind, right? Yeah, this one's good. I will become weak with old age, right? This is, again, a societal belief that people believe that when we grow older, we are more useless, right? We grow weaker. The thing is, when you grow older, the other perspective of that, right? But that's kind of like what the world thinks now, is that elderly individuals, as we grow older, we lose wisdom, right? And we don't want to take advice from elderly individuals as an example, because again, we grow weaker. That is the belief system. That is the societal belief system that is changing, right? Has changed for many individuals, has changed for me, and potentially will change for you. And I hope it will change for you, because as you grow older, you have more experience, you have more wisdom to share, period, right? You don't get weaker, you get stronger when you age, because of the wisdom, the experience that life puts you through, and the wisdom that you gather from it, right? Very, very, very important. I don't deserve to have money. I'm not a creative person. I'm a slow learner. They're all limiting beliefs, right? Again, they're all examples. Life is about to go round. Life is happening to me. I am at the mercy of my past. I am at the mercy of karma. The world is out to get me. My truth is the only truth. I will become weak with old age. I don't deserve to have money. I'm not a creative person. I'm a slow learner. They're all limiting beliefs, and you can just shift your perspective on every single one of them. So how do you do that? Right? How do you identify limiting beliefs? I'm going to say this right now. A key is to not search for it. Don't search for your flaws. Don't focus on your flaws, right? A lot of people go and search for them. Every single week they go to a session and search for their limiting beliefs, search for their flaws, everything that is wrong with them. What you focus on, you manifest, period, right? So you don't have to be searching for this. You don't have to be focusing on this. You can focus on the individual that you want to become instead, right? So part of this is an exercise. I'm going to give you a few different things that you can do. But an exercise that you should do is at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, whether it's in bed, whether you're sitting, drinking tea, reading a book, whatever it is, at the end of your day, reflect on that day. And what I mean by that is you can get into meditation, you can just think, right? Rewind the day, so kind of go back in time and slowly rewind the day's events and find points where you were potentially triggered, meaning that you were emotionally charged. There was something within you that was reacting, whether it was somebody who was driving a car, maybe a colleague, a friend, a spouse, a family member, that triggered you. Maybe it was a random individual that you don't even know, and all of a sudden there was a trigger, there was an emotional response. This is what that reflective meditation should find. Any type of trigger, any type of emotional reaction, that has happened within that day, and then pause on that. When you find it, pause on it, reflect on it, and set an intention to find the initial source of that belief system, of that emotional reaction, because a lot of times that is a stored emotion that is just reacting. That is a past self that is reacting based on something that has happened because of a memory that is engraved within your psyche from the past. And it's simply your past self is reacting in the present because of what has happened in the past. And this is what I'm talking about. When you do this reflective type of meditation, right, you can find those flaws, and again, you can eliminate them. So to continue on that topic, once you find that limiting belief within your meditation, right, that reaction, and you set an intention to take you back in time to the original moment of when it occurred, what you might see is a memory. You might see some images, a memory of the past, of when you were in a childhood or when something happened to you. That is the self that you need to focus on, because that is the self that is reacting in the moment, and that is the limiting belief based on that event. As an example, so what you can do is you can now focus on that memory and what was potentially a bad memory to you, right? You can change it to a positive. What were the lessons from that memory? What was your parent trying to actually do or teach you in the moment? They may not want to harm you or give you a limiting belief of based on money or whatever, that you cannot afford this. They were maybe doing it for a different reason. So reframe that memory, reframe that limiting belief from a negative to a positive, and all of a sudden you will see everything change. Your past will change, and that self that was reactive in the moment potentially will not be as reactive anymore, because now you have a different perspective of that event. That is the last thing that I wanted to touch about, and that is it for this lesson. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.